Okay, the work-life balance dilemma. Finding harmony in everyday life. That's our episode title. The work-life balance dilemma.
Yeah.
Man, from the get-go, Brian, I'm just thinking about all my friends, some that I've mentored, some that I've just ran alongside with, who are trying to play this balancing act.
Yeah. Yeah.
With being a husband, father, friend, job titles, and any other thing that you want to put on top of that. And they're juggling, right? And it's almost like this balancing act. I don't know if you want to visualize juggling as one of those things, but I also see how it can be unrealistic.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of prioritizing.
Yeah.
Like what matters the most. You know, if we don't put in order what matters the most, it seems like everything is chaotic or everything is too much to bear.
Ooh, I feel like that's a lot of what people are facing right now, is that it's too much to bear. And I think it's because there's a lot of options too.
Yeah. I mean, you said yourself, clear is kind. If you're not making clear what's most important, it becomes chaotic.
Interesting. Yeah, my pastor he told me this once and I haven't forgotten this, and for some reason it popped up to my brain. He says, fight for simplicity or fight for clarity rather than complexity.
Yeah.
Because I think when you have too much, it just makes things complicated.
So, what is it that you said some years ago? You were sharing with the youth, and you were saying how having too many options causes confusion versus having few options gives clarity.
Yeah.
It
so
was a specific saying that you said.
Yeah. So people do, so you either feel sad or anxious.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I came to that conclusion, or I came to find this in my research, is because I'm finding out that more teenagers are feeling anxious or sad, hopeless, or too many options.
Yeah.
What I mean by hopeless, they don't have any options, or they have too many options to choose from, especially those who are preparing to graduate and go to college. You know about this. You had a son that just went into college, and all the flyers that were being sent to you just to sell the idea that their college is better.
Exactly. It's like how do you choose? Right? Who do you choose?
Who do you choose?
We went on maybe 20 different college tours, and the one thing that I noticed is that they're not really talking about the academics. Students are picking their college of choice based on the extracurricular stuff. The sports, the parties, the the game hall and things like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought about happiness, right? That's a great I guess it is emotion, happiness. But what do you think the difference between happiness and joy? Because before you answer, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think the work-life balance dilemma has a lot to do with happiness.
I haven't seen anywhere, or that I can remember, where the word happiness is used in the Bible, but joy definitely is.
Yes.
Right? I think joy comes from having a peace and a calm in who you are and what you have and what you're doing, right? And happiness is something that we're trying to achieve. Right?
It's almost like a natural flow state.
We're trying to
joy.
Joy is a natural flow, and happiness is something that we feel that we have to do to achieve it, as opposed to joy just being something that we have. Contentment, and not a settling when I say contentment, but an appreciation and an honor for what we already have.
That's good. I needed to taste my coffee right there. That brought happiness to me.
There we go.
Mark Gurner, one of my good friends, you know who he is. Mark Gurner.
Love him, Mark.
Great man, has experience being a CEO for a long time. And he said something last week. He said, happiness has the word happen in there.
Something has to be done in action. Yeah.
Just like, that just makes sense. Like, you have to wait for something to happen. Whereas joy, it's like, no, I don't need something to happen.
It just is.
I just know that I could be in this flow state of joy. Now, for you and I, it's different.
So I've never heard the words happiness and peace together, but I've heard joy and peace. I've heard joy and peace together over and over and over. Because when there's a peace, there's a stillness, there's a calmness. And happiness, like you say, there's a happening. There's movement, there's action, and joy is just a state of being.
That's so interesting. So let's define work-life balance for a moment.
Okay.
Because what does that look like and what does that mean in 2024 right now, work-life balance? Because I know with inflation, politics, all the things, the changes, the economy, culture, Like it's demanding you to either be out of balance or in balance.
Yeah.
We have meetings with our teachers once a month, and we even tell our teachers, hey, we have an open door policy. Don't wait till a month to tell us what's going on in your life and you're having a hard time.
It's way too late.
We want to get a glimpse, if you will, to see how they're doing in their personal life. Because we know at some point it's going to end up impacting their professional life.
Yeah. So, speaking personally, in our life, in our season, me and my wife, we do everything together. We serve together, we run our business together, we parent together, of course. We mentor together and teach together. So for us, everything is seamlessly integrated.
I love that. Beautiful.
If you look at the majority of households, the wife has her career and the husband has his career. And then there's a household, right? So there's 3 cultures.
Yeah.
Her culture, his work culture, and then the home culture. So I can see how there's some imbalance because you're bringing different ideologies, different beliefs, different, you know what I mean, into one, trying to integrate it.
Yeah.
But what we've found most effective for us as a couple and as a family is when we get home, like the only thing that matters is home. We're not talking about customers. We're not talking about the team. We're not talking about ministry in the sense of being in the building, but we are talking about ministry in the sense of the church of the world, right? Okay. So we keep proper perspectives about the things that we're doing where they belong. So home is home. Good, when it comes to the house, it's hey, are the bills being paid? Is there food in the fridge? Yeah. Prioritize. Are we safe? Yeah. So we prioritize what needs to be prioritized. And when we go to work, we're not talking about home, right?
That's good.
We're talking about our team. We're talking about our customers. We're talking about growth, development, things like that.
I like that when you say put things in its order, in its place, because that's how you easily drop the ball. You could be working so hard at work, and then
you're hardly working,
and then you take it home.
Yeah.
Next thing, the work at home gets neglected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an out of balance state, right? I shouldn't be talking about work at home, and I shouldn't be talking about home at work.
That's so good, man. I had this realization with Morgan about this week. Are we kind of getting a pulse? Like, how is our marriage doing? How do you feel we're doing together? Because we work together at school. She's the headmaster. I'm the executive director. And it's like we always want a pulse. Like, hey, how are we doing? How are we doing? Yeah. How are you feeling? And one thing she told me about being in marriage and at home, she's like, let's have more fun. I feel like we're way too serious when we're at home. Yeah. I'm like, okay, let's play some Bob Marley. Let's just get some reggae. Let's be a little bit more romantic. I'm going to hug you. I'm going to hold you, all the things. And also be present with our kids. Like, locking eyes with them, putting our phone away.
But it's awesome that she would make that statement, that comment, right?
Happiness.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't necessarily want to wait till it happens, but sometimes you do need to set the tone in the home. Or set the table. I remember these words came back to me. Set the tempo, table, and tone.
Yep.
3 T's, which I think Ken, how do you say his last name? Ken brought it up to me. Owns a dentistry business, which is amazing, and he's doing a great job.
Tempo, table, and tone. That's something that we say in the one class.
Oh, really? Yeah, that must be a concept from like psychologists or something. Okay, I do want to read this statement before we continue on. You ain't too old to start over. You're too old to keep doing what isn't working. You ain't too old to start over. You're too old to keep doing what is not working. Ooh, ouch.
That's amazing. Like, it's awesome. No, seriously, think about it. We get up in our older age and we say things like, man, I'm too old to be doing this. I don't have the ability. The question is, if you continue on the track that you're on, you're going to be older. Yeah. You're going to have less energy, less availability, and less resources. So this is what I say. Pain. You're not too old to start over, simply because if where you are isn't working and it's painful, right? Do you want to be in more pain later, or do you want to go through the pain now to become better?
Ouch.
Right?
That's why I'm going like that. That's why I'm expressing that way. I'd rather feel the pain now.
Exactly.
Than
think about it like this. If you were to say to yourself, man, my life is a living hell, do you want to go through hell to get out of hell, or do you want to stay in hell?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
That's good, man.
Do you want to put yourself through the necessary uncomfortableness for a season? That way you can be relieved for an extended period of time out of that season, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we think like that. I always tell my son, either you're gonna, at some point, to be successful and to have the things you want, you're going to have to pay a price.
Yeah.
Either you're going to pay it now while you're 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
and enjoy your life into your 20s and 30s and 40s, or you're going to goof off right now. You know, you're going to do things that I tell you not to do or not do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
And then when you look up, you're going to realize like, man, there's a cost to me getting the things that I want, doing the things that I want to do. And you're going to pay it at some point. You know, for a lot of us, I think me and you can actually say we didn't start paying the price until we were what, in our mid-20s.
At least mid-20s, yeah.
Yeah, at least
for
maybe
me,
even early 30s, right?
Yeah, early 30s for me.
So you're never too old.
Wow. It's interesting you're saying that because I think about the compounding effect, compounding interest.
Yeah.
If I had a teenager that's listening to us right now, I would say, don't forget you have compounding interest in your favor. Now, that could be through wealth, your knowledge, and your time.
Time, resources,
Yes.
people, relational equity.
You're building margin right now.
Yeah.
The cost of time right now, and if you're effective with that right now at 17, or you could be even younger, 12,
11.
you are saving years and years and years and years and years and years of heartache. If you don't manage this right now, you're waiting for pain to come later.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you from experience.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
I was watching this video on YouTube about this guy who got sentenced for armed robbery. He got sentenced to 13 years, right?
Yeah.
But while he was out on bail, his lawyers were fighting to get his sentence reduced. But something happened and they forgot to arrest the guy.
Wait.
So 13 years passed, and I guess they looked at the records and was like, it's time to release him. And they realized that he was never, they realized that he was never in jail, right? So they arrested him and locked him up. But the case gained national attention.
Oh,
So
no.
they let him out. And they let him out because in that 13 years,
It was their fault.
he went back to school.
Oh.
He got his life together. He started a business. He became a little league coach. He became a model
influencer.
He became a model citizen, right? Lived an amazing life. And they eventually let him out, right? But
Wow.
it's never too late. You're not too old.
That's a great story, man.
You're
I'm
not
glad you
too
brought
old,
that
man.
one up, man.
It's interesting.
I want to read this point here. The evolving nature of work and family commitments, the natural effect of growth and development as you get older, especially if you have a family or work, you're developing in your work industry. Let's start with work. It's evolving, but you also have a commitment there.
Yeah.
My thought process when it comes to work commitment, because I'm talking to young men and women in their mid-20s, early 20s, who are trying to discover what they're supposed to do in the next 5 to 10 years. Like, I know I'm here for a certain season, but after this season, I don't know what's after this.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I really think it informs your work-life balance per se.
no, so the generation that are behind us. So I'm 42. You know, you're late 30s, about to be 40.
40, yeah.
The generation that's behind us, man, is very, very interesting. You know, you sit down and you talk to them, and the conversation is, well, I've been at this job for a year, and I just don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I'm like, it's only been a year. Yeah. And not even a year, going on a year. Like I've had
Not
these
even
conversations
a year yet. Yeah.
and
It's that microwave effect, maybe.
Yeah, you know, and we're right now as I speak, we're talking to that generation and get offended because it's the truth. Like, you need to hear hard truths. 9 months and you trying to get a raise and become GM at a job with no experience is not real.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be patient. You gotta put your time in. I was sharing this with somebody the other day. When I was in my early 20s, I wanted a Cadillac, right? But here's what I knew. I knew that it was an expensive car, right? 50, 60 grand. And I knew that at 20 years old, with no work experience, no degree, no career, that wasn't something that I could afford.
So you knew.
I knew that I was going to have to
Context.
get a job, work at that job, become experienced, earn, you know what I mean?
Where do you think you learned that from?
I have no clue.
I'm sure
I
you
didn't see
would have
it.
heard it from someone, surely.
I didn't see it. Just my common sense told me that it was going to require
Common
It
sense.
was going to require some money. It was going to require some money,
Yeah.
and that money was going to have to come through work, and that work was going to, it was going to have to come through experience. Like, and there's no earning it that folks want to do nowadays. You're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to put time in. Give it 5 years. Give it 4 years.
This is so good. This is in alignment with work-life balance, and in reference to what you're saying. So I was watching the debate between the vice presidents. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
I didn't.
It's very interesting because one of them brought up the words common sense, and the other was saying we have the experts. We have the experts, and the other candidate was saying we're just exercising common sense here. We're no longer listening to experts who have determined things that are wrong for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We're just going back to common sense, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so interesting because when you think about common sense, it's almost like you're going back to the principle of the thing,
Basics.
the fundamentals.
Basics.
Yeah.
Like we overdo a lot of things, you know? How many folks you know with degrees that they're not using?
Too many. It's very concerning now.
Yeah,
I'm very concerned why people are getting degrees. Now, don't get me wrong, it does help in your interviews. I've seen it in businesses that I've been a part of where people get elevated platforms, which, you know, to a degree they have some experience in the realm that I was in at one point. But I would see the instant like buy-in. Actually, I had a conversation with my wife's host dad in Australia where she worked for a year as a nanny for their kids.
Okay.
And I was talking to the host dad and he was like, no, it was the mum, the host mum. I was like, why Morgan? Why did you pick her as a candidate from another country to be an au pair and be a nanny for your kids? That's a big deal. And you know what she said? She was like, the first thing that stood out to me is that she had a college degree.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why she said that, and this is an Australian thing though. Australia, you need qualifications to do anything and thrive.
It's culture.
And I feel like I thrive here really well because I don't have much of those things because I'm like, it's common sense, right? But thinking about it, she elaborated on the fact that when you finish college and you get a degree, it also buys that instant trust of knowing that she was willing to go through the process.
Yeah.
To take time through that. Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Go through the time, exercising patience, kind of like what you're referring to.
Yeah. I remember I had a mentor in high school and I was finishing up and he was like, so what are you going to do after high school? I'm like, I don't know, get a job. He's like, oh. I was like, I'm just trying to get through high school. And he's like, I like that. He was like, continue because it's not the degree, it's the commitment. He was like, you're proving not just to the world, but you're also proving to yourself that you can follow through. You can see something through. And I was like, wow, I never even thought about that.
And the fact that we're talking about work-life balance, I think there's this idea of like, if you have a degree, it's a sign of you've been committed to this thing, which is great. And it buys trust. Now, when it comes to work-life...
And it means you're teachable. You sat long enough to learn. You did the research. You did the work. You can put the time in.
And that's the thing. I heard Jordan Peterson say this. He said, work as hard as you can in your early years so then you know your capacity.
Yeah. You know, I've been playing with this thought that as, you know, when we put money in the bank, we expect that money to grow, right? We put a seed in the ground, we expect that tree to grow and become stronger. And as it becomes stronger, it becomes better, right? Why don't we expect that about all the things in our life? Like our relationships. You know, the longer they are, the better they should become. The older I get, the better I should become. Right? Not the weaker I should become. My knees shouldn't start hurting. And I say, oh, that's just getting old. No, my knees should be getting stronger.
Yeah, it should be.
Right? My relationship should be getting stronger. My health should be getting better. My communication should be getting better. Everything about me should be getting better. But we do live in a culture where we say that age brings dysfunction because it's a deterioration. I shouldn't be deteriorating, right? I should be getting stronger, sharper, and better.
Yeah, I don't even say I'm 30 years old anymore. I'm 38 years of age.
There we go.
Becoming of age.
Right?
You like that?
Becoming.
Yeah, becoming. That's right. I want to read this statement from Miles Monroe. He says, leadership is only as safe as your character. Leadership is only as safe as your character. You're alluding to patience. Patient is a character trait. And I think when you're talking about growing and developing, you're filling up these, or I guess you're working on those muscles to work on these character traits to become a better leader.
Yeah. You know, I think about two statements when you say that leadership is only as safe as your character. I heard it said that your character is your currency. And that's something that I shared on once on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
I showed up at the farmer's market and the dude gave me free stuff.
Yes.
Just based on us having a relationship.
That's good.
Right? You know, didn't even need money at the moment. Ready to pay for my product, but just me and him having a relational equity, right? It paid for my product.
And just come, yeah.
You know, and I heard it say like this: don't put me, you know, the prayer is that God, don't put me in a place where my character can't keep me. Don't put me in a room that my character's not strong enough for me to do what they're doing.
Say that
to
first
drink
one.
what they're drinking, smoke what they're smoking.
Say that first part in the second again.
Don't put me in a place where my character can't keep me. Yeah, can't keep me strong, can't keep me out of trouble, can't keep me from being influenced.
And what's the other phrase?
Character is currency.
Character is currency. You said something after that. You rewind that one. Rewind that one. I love this because work-life balance, I think there's this notion that, you know, this idea around balance, right? I think it's false.
Yeah.
Because if you try, so I've heard it said this way, if you're broke, depressed, and confused, yes, there's something out of balance. Yeah. But I think you have to see it as like it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Because look, you look at an ant, for instance. An ant is programmed to store its resources to prepare for winter. So I would say, like, try to figure out a way to build as much margin as you can in the season that you're in right now. So if you're broke, I don't know what you need to do right now. Whether you're, if you aren't getting paid enough, well, let's start studying and educating yourself to level up.
Yeah. When we talk about that imbalance, you know, I think about someone or something is not in a comfortable position.
Yeah.
Right. So something's wrong.
Something's off.
You know, and I've already heard it said like this: if your life is like this and you're trying to get this balance, that should never be the case. It should always be one of these. Like something should always be higher than something.
Yeah.
Me and your friendship, like I love you, you're awesome, great dude, love your family. Yeah. But the weight that my wife carry is here. It's a little bit more heavier, right? Like you and my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
That relationship's heavier, right?
That's interesting.
And then you talk about your marriage, right? And then you talk about your faith.
Yeah.
Faith is heavier.
It's even heavier, yeah.
It's even heavier, right? You know what I mean? Like there should never, like God isn't equal to my wife, right? Yeah, so how can I have balance in my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife? In order to have prosperity in my relationship with my wife, God's weight has to be much heavier. I have to be leaning on him, covered by him, right?
That's interesting you're saying that now. I'm getting all these analogies about the gym. You think about this, right? You can only do so many reps with these heaviest weights that you have on your bar. So when you have the heaviest weights, you're not doing as many reps, but you're exerting a lot of energy. So you're resting more, you're being more calibrated and curated, if you will.
Exactly.
But when it comes to lighter weights, you have a little bit more bandwidth. So you don't have to spend as much time on those lighter weights. You probably want to spend more time on those heavy weights. Man, that just came to me.
Definitely.
Dang, that's a good analogy, dude. I'm going to use that one. I think about weight as also time, because when something weighs on you more, you want to spend more time on those things.
That's good.
Think about it, right? Because you know, Jesus says this, that my yoke is easy, but my burden is light.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think whenever he has assigned you on something, for my Christian believers out there, if he's assigned you to something and it's not light and easy, it's because you haven't spent time with him. That better preach.
If it's not light and easy,
you haven't spent time with your Father. Okay, well, going back to my other brothers and sisters out there that don't believe in Jesus, I'm just thinking through like common myths and misconceptions about work-life and balance. I think we alluded to that. It's almost like it's counterbalanced. You know, like you're fighting a false entity here. And a matter of fact, I even heard it said this way, that principles, right? You either work with it or you run away from it.
Principles?
Yeah. Because gravity doesn't care what you believe in.
Gravity's going to do its thing regardless. Yeah, I love it.
So you either work with it or you run away from it.
Yeah, you know, right, like we don't, I love that. That's a great analogy. It's like we don't say gravity is false or gravity don't exist. What we do, we learn how to manipulate gravity. We work with it, right? We come up with inventive ideas to get a plane off the ground.
Manage it.
Yeah, we manage it. it is what we have. It's
care.
a principle.
Yeah.
It's a law.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
but we
spiritual
work
law.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't care what you think or what you believe.
At all.
You'll hurt yourself. So work with the principle or else get hurt. So we're saying here is be methodical. Manage your time. I think we're going back to budgeting your time. A little quimp.
Yeah, people don't have money problems. They don't have relationship problems. They have management problems. Right? Because
what are they not managing?
Relation themselves.
Yes.
Themselves.
Time.
Because relationships are a principle, right?
Yeah.
None of us are on an island living by ourselves. You know, communication is something that must be done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing that I say. People have communication problems. You don't have money problems. You're bad at communicating about money. You don't have relationship problems.
You don't know how to make offers.
Exactly.
If you're in a business and you're struggling, you don't know how to make offers. That's the problem. No one knows about your business.
You got to make offers, and you're always selling yourself. I heard it said like this: the only reason you have the wife you have is because you sold her on the fact that you're the man that she need to be with.
No, better preach.
You never thought you were in you never thought you were in sales when you met your spouse or when you got married. You know, you sold her that you can be the man that she needs. You can be the father that she's always wanted for her children, that you can be a provider, that you can take care of her. And you're constantly selling yourself.